We are live now, doctor.
A very good evening to everyone. I welcome you all to a brand new webinar series, which is launched under the initiative of YOSI, Eureyeka Innovations in Ophthalmology. This is going to be a comprehensive capsule which is going to encompass all the various aspects of innovations in ophthalmology. Innovations in any field are necessary for the advancement and further improvement. And innovations in ophthalmology in particular can take any form, whether it is teaching, clinical, or surgical. And today we begin with the first episode of the webinar series, which is introduction to innovations in ophthalmology, and we have two very eminent innovators and eye surgeons who are going to share their inspiring journey with us. But before we begin with the talk, I would like to invite our president, Dr. Devakant Mishra, sir, to give his inaugural address. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Samir. And this will not be an address, just a small comment. And I would like to welcome everybody to this meeting and congratulate Samir in the beginning because this is his initiative for encouraging innovations specifically in ophthalmology. That is something that we feel is lacking still. And so we are trying to collect innovators, Indian innovators, and hopefully international ones also, so that we can encourage young ophthalmologists across India to pick up innovations, however small they are, and execute them and see them through as products in the market. For that reason, we have Dr. Suvain with us. We all know him really well, and Dr. John to inspire us also and our colleagues as well. So over to you, Samir, and best wishes for this great initiative.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. So I'll be just introducing our speakers for the day. So our first speaker would be Dr. Suvain Bhattacharjee. He's the director at Nayan Eye Center Private Limited and MedInvent Private Limited. He did his diploma in ophthalmology and MS from JIPMER, from where he got the gold medal. He's also a fellow of Retina Foundation Ahmedabad and was a top innovator and gold medalist at the DST Lockheed Martin India Innovation Growth Program 2016. He's the inventor of the globally patented B-HEX pupil expander, which is a very commonly used pupil expanding device and has featured on several platforms, including the Cataract Coach by Dr. Uday Devgan. He has also won the AIOS P. Shiva Reddy International Award, Best Paper of Session ASCRS, Colonel Rangachari Award for Best Overall Paper, Sante Vision Award for Best Cataract Paper AIOS, International Hero Award AIOS, and CS Reshmi Gold Medal for Best Video and Thematic Film, Glaucoma AIOS. It's an honor to have you, sir. Our next speaker would be Dr. John Davis Sakara. He's a glaucoma, cataract, and refractive surgeon in Western Eye Hospital and Chaitanya Eye Hospital, Kochi. He also completed his MBBS and MS from JIPMER and glaucoma fellowship from Arvind Eye Hospital, Pondicherry. This was followed by by a Ratan Tata Advanced Cataract Fellowship from Shankar Nethralaya, Chennai. He has won paper, poster, video, and innovation awards in several conferences, including AIOS, APAO, APVRS, KSOS, TNOA, JSI, and COC. He has several journal publications on innovations. Just one second. In innovations in ophthalmology, AI, 3D printing, and smartphone slit lamp photography. He won rupees 2 lakh in startup incubation for third place in LVPI Startup Challenge 2024 for his patented innovation foldable fundoscope. He does program. He's an avid programmer and has developed smartphone apps such as iGrader, I Know Tamil, and 3D Atlas of Ophthalmology. He has several innovations under his name, which include foldable fundoscope, virtual reality perimetry, smartphone ophthalmic imaging, augmented reality, artificial intelligence, Raspberry Pi-based surgical recorder, and 3D printed glaucoma valve, and several others. Thank you for joining us, sir. It's an honor to have you with us. So I would like to invite Dr. Suvain, sir, to share his journey with us. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Yosi and Dr. Samir, for putting this together. It's actually wonderful to see so many young minds Okay, can you see my slides now? Yeah, good. Take the controls here. Yeah. So let's get on to business. So when Dr. Samir asked me to speak on my journey, I thought I'd rather talk about the lessons that we learned through the journey, and the journey, of course, in the process. So if you look at these two pictures, what's the difference? Now you will, of course, see that there are nose pads over here. Now it's very simple. Now let's start with this. And now, is this an innovation? Is it worth pursuing? Are the questions that we need to ask ourselves. Now that is where we start. You have a great idea. You've just woken up from sleep and you feel just like this. Yeah. So you have a great idea. You've woken up in the morning and you thought something overnight. What do you do next? Do you straight away get on to prototyping? Do you start talking to people? Or do you get to patenting? Or you think of commercializing? I would say do none of them. That brings us to our topic. We need to think and work like an innovator. And I'll be sharing the lessons that I learned from the B-HEX journey. It's been over years now, I think, more than about 14, 15 years that I've been with this. The thought from when I started. And I'm Suven Bhattacharjee. I have patents on the B-HEX People Expander, and I do gain financially from the B-HEX People Expander. So let's ask some basic questions. Why nose pads? We know that. I mean, we know they provide comfortable grip, reduce the pressure, prevent your glasses from sliding down, flexibility of frame selection. But then, what if these were not required at all, or they were impossible to make, or they were not affordable? Would it still qualify as an innovation? Would it be worth pursuing? So if you pursue it, it would be a complete waste of your time, money, and energy. So why should we think? That when we think, we minimize the risk of failure. We have a great idea, but we must do a reality check and we must try to succeed. Otherwise, all the effort that we put in is going to come to a naught. Now, woefully, the invention success rate is very, very low. So that's the reason you need to work, think, and be sure as to what you're going to pursue is going to bear some fruit. Now, bringing an innovation to market, like most people over here, there are lots of the innovators among, actually, YOSI, Dr. Divakan said that not too many. I would say we have a good number. In our times, we had hardly any innovators. So that's good. It's a wonderful trend that has caught up. And we would like to see more innovators come up. So, but bringing an innovation to market or invention to market requires a lot more than an idea. And you need to be very organized in your thought and work. So the first question I would like to ask, is my idea or innovation good enough? Is it worth commercializing? So there are two sub-questions we answer. Is there an unmet need? Is the solution possible with current technology? Now, let's say there's a lot of talk about pre-chopper and this and all now on social media. Now, if you think you've got a good design, the question that you need to ask yourself as a surgeon is, does it really solve a problem? Will people really put their hands in their pockets and take out money and pay for the product? If they think that they will do that, then you have a reasonably good solution. What's the next step you do? Most often we like to talk. We like to talk at meetings. We like to talk at, tell our friends, tell our prof, impress our team. Well, that is precisely what you should not do, because there is a lot of confidentiality involved in the work that you do. Otherwise, you're going to have a picture like that. Now, who's going to steal? Lots of people can steal. The industry might steal it from you. Your prof might steal you. Your colleague might steal you. Anybody could steal that idea, and you will feel you will be left high and dry. We need to ask some stupid questions. Very, very stupid and basic. Why? Why not? How? How not? That will give us a lot of answers. So let's say with the B-HEX. Now, when I started, I had to ask myself, were these the only rings that are available? The Malaysian ring and the eye ring? Not really. A little bit of literature search and showed me that Glass in 1981 had already thought of a flexible pupil expansion ring and had filed a patent right there. And of course, there were others, Rather, Lee, Milberton, Mosher. So there's a lot of work which has been done. But then none of these really stood the test of time. So it takes a wise man to learn from his mistakes, but an even wiser man to learn from others' mistakes. So the questions that I asked were, why did the other rings fail? Why was the Mulligan ring successful? And how could my pupil expander be simpler and easier for the surgeon, safer for the patient, machine manufactured rapidly, and more affordable? These were actually the shortcomings of the Mulligan ring, though it was successful. So if you want to score brownie points, you need to be better than what is already available. I needed to be creative and imaginative. So, I mean, the standard thinking out of the box is easier said than done. You have to really let your imagination run wild. You have to, I mean, you have to not think as an ophthalmologist, you have to think very basic and actually think very different. So this was my initial design of the B-HEX, a simple wireframe, open ring, single plate. And if you notice the actually legs have gone inside, and this was what I thought initially, and this was my first drawing. Then, of course, the inventive state. What is it that defines your device differently from others? So if you look at all the B-HEX, all the Mulligan ring and eye ring, all of them have the pupil margin is actually in one plane and the device kind of straddles across it. With the B-HEX, we changed the whole thing. The B-HEX was in the same plane and the pupil margin was going up and down. That is the radically different step. And what did we use? We used what was already available. The iris is a flexible structure. It's a tissue. It can be bent without harm. It's fully reversible. So that's what we use. And what do you think my next step would have been? Get my trap shut. I knew I had hit on something very important. The idea had to go through a lot of refinement, a lot of work on it. So I just kept my mouth shut, no in presentations, nothing. Started working on it. I needed to do a reality check as to, is this a new great idea? I didn't want to, nobody wants to reinvent the wheel when the cars are already on the road. So you don't want to be stupid. So let's see what others have done. Probably somebody has thought of it and dumped it. So I could go back to literature, patent search, and see what has already been done. It's just like working on a thesis. So is my idea really new? So you look at all kind of literature that you are living in the world of the internet, and that throws up everything. You just ask a question and you get answers. You really don't need, there are hardly, all this is publicly available, freely available. You look for patent literature, you look for non-patent literature, review your literature, like your boss would have told you, your prof would have told you, your guide for your thesis would have told you. There is no end to reviewing literature, and you, even while you have finished your thesis, you'll see that there's some literature which you missed out. Then you do need to protect your idea. Of course, depends upon how far do you think you're going to take this idea, because if you're going to patent it, it is going to be costly, it's time consuming, it's a lot of energy. So you need to see where exactly your idea is, whether it's a device which is going to, I mean, or it's a kind of concept which is going to really stand the test of time. Then again, we need to see whether it's technically feasible. That's a very important thing. Your current day's technology must be able to commercially produce it consistently, safely, and cost effectively. You see, technology is changing every day. Something which was not doable yesterday is doable today, because you got 3D printing, you got so many other things. You got excellent printing facilities, excellent layer facilities, which you can use to create anything. You need to collaborate. I think I'll stress a lot on this, and there are a lot of slides on this. Actually, as you go in your process of innovation, you will realize that you cannot really do it alone. You need a lot of help from different quarters. Maintain good relationships with the industry, with a lot of scientists outside medicine. That helps a lot. So this is a gentleman who has actually been the backbone. Some of you might think that Gupta ring and the B-HEX ring are at kind of competition. Well, that is healthy competition, but then this person has been a good friend and he's helped me throughout my journey. So when I called up Amit and I asked him, he said, sir, the jig is the trickiest part. If you can do that, he said, I can't do it. It's your idea. You have to do it. And if you can do it, you won the game. He told me, I talked to him about material, nylon and polypropylene. He said, PMMA is an absolute no, nylon or probably polypropylene. Okay, so I had that much, and then I approached other people in the industry. I saw that not much of interest was there. Nobody wanted to really fork in money or time for this. So I went out and asked somebody outside the medical industry. So this is this person, Mr. Maheshwari. Somehow I came to know him through contacts. And I said, okay, this is my stuff. I want my design. And he said, He looked at it and I said, it's just not possible with plastic molding or stamping. But then he gave me a brilliant idea. He said, try making a spring yourself. Wind nylon on an iron nail and put it in a kitchen oven. He said, do it yourself if you can. And there is no better lesson than that. If it is doable, you do it yourself. Of course, you will require a lot of help. But if you can do half the way, if you can go yourself, then the rest becomes a lot easier. So when I went ahead and did it myself, this is my wife's oven. Of course, it's dumped now. And this was the birthplace of the first ring. And these are the first springs that I actually made from nylon suture material. And that you won't believe the joy I had when I found out that this spring works. So I knew I had, kind of conquered a lot of the distance and covered a lot of distance by just doing that. So you need to look for people who will teach you to fish, not for people who are going to give you a fish. You give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. A very, very valuable lesson. Look around for people who really teach you to fish. This might look very primitive to you, but this is all I had when I started. A very crude, my daughter's study table. And I didn't have a study table because I didn't need to at that time. And I was not doing much of academic work. So only a table lamp and my presbyopia. I was already presbyopic, by the way, by that time. So this is, I think, this is 2012, 13 that I was working like this. So the two tools were my standard surgical tools, nothing outside that. And then this was this gentleman. So I asked this guy, Selvaraj and Appasamy, I said, see, I need to make small holes. I need drill. And where do I get it? So these are sales come tech guy in Appasamy. Fortunately, courtesy my training in JIPMA, I speak fluent Tamil. So these guys are very good friends. So he said, no problem, sir, I'll get it from the market. And I has to pay money. And whenever he used to go to the market, he used to get me stuff like that. And that's how, I went. So when you want something, you'll realize, as I go, you will realize that, like you said, the entire universe kind of conspires in helping you to achieve it. And that is so true. Sometimes you might feel that you're in the dumps, but actually, if you look back in hindsight, you will see that there are a lot of things which are playing. And actually, when you are discouraged to do something, probably it was not meant to be. So this is the first prototype of my 3-0 nylon ring. It looks very crude, but this didn't go into the eye, but a very close one of this. So this had sharp edges over here, if you can see. And so I said, okay, this is going to be dangerous. It's going to rip the capsule. So I rejected this. So the next one. So how do I do that? So now I made some eyelets. Now this was too big for comfort, but I did try it. And I needed express ETO service. So when you're churning out ideas, designs, one after the other, you get restless. You are impatient. So this is Dinanath Ghosh from Joja Surgicals. You've all seen this gentleman at the trade and everything. Wonderful person. So he would send over somebody or I would send over somebody. And I needed the ETO to be done by the next day so that I could use it in a surgery. So this is 3-0 nylon in the eye. It looks very gross, but it worked. So that was my taste of success. There's nothing like tasting success. It keeps you going. And at this point, I needed magnification. But you see, magnification, and we're used to microscopes in the operation theater, but I couldn't get one for this. And at that time, the basic microscope, the Brilliant from Appasamy, cost 1.7 lakhs. I wasn't sure whether I wanted to spend that money and get this microscope. So this is the gentleman. I asked him, I said, Mr. Elsami, I want a microscope. I said, I want it for my experiments. I want to see whether it works. So he said, no problem. As Appasamy, it used to be those days. Now they are big corporates. So he said, no problem, you take it. If you feel like you want to keep it, you pay me whenever you feel like. So I kept it. Then Amit told me that I needed to get a hot air oven to shape these designs. And these are basically nylon is a thermoplastic. So you have to take it to a particular temperature, keep it there, and that gives it the shape. You have to put it in a dice or something, and then you do that. And what a very valuable suggestion with Amit gave me was, sir, keep a notebook. Please keep a notebook, every temperature, everything, what temperature, what duration you're keeping, because when you look back, you will not know which one worked. So this is a very valuable. Do maintain a notebook right from day one and keep scribbling, no matter wherever you are. In fact, I keep it in my laptop bag and I keep scribbling whatever I feel like. Now you have phones with notepads and everything. You could do that, but this is something very valuable. You can always refer back whenever you need. So by this time, my wife realized that I was not quite giving up on this idea. So she also kind of joined of course, I must say, jokes apart, she was a very big help through me and a big support throughout this journey. You need someone like that who can take care of the rest. Because my workstation and everything, we were moved to the guest room. She said, okay, work in peace, live in peace, leave us alone. And I often worked till 4 a.m. on weekdays. Next day morning, I would have the operation theater. I had to earn money to survive also and run a practice. And through weekends, Saturday 6 p.m. I would get into my room, this room, and I would come in and on Monday morning at almost 6:30 in the morning, and I used to be served breakfast, lunch, dinner in this room. John over here also helped me with this, if John remembers. Actually, this is the final version of the B-HEX handle that you see now. But one of the meetings, I think John was there, and he had access to a 3D printer, and he helped me a lot. So I got the CAD over email, and then I gave it to him, and he helped me to make the first prototypes of the handle. Now I could see better. So this was the 409. So I moved to 40 nylon. Now I had the microscope. I could see better, and I could make better finish, of the ends. And Amit again told me what you see today for the stellar fixation of, those the proline suture, that actually comes from here. You use the thermal and make that kind of, that olive tip kind of finish that you give over there, so it doesn't slip back. Yeah. So now, sorry. Yeah. So the ring worked, you see, but there was a problem. The legs came close and sometimes even interlocked. So that was embarrassing. In fact, this was embarrassing in one of the surgeries. I had a tough time releasing that interlocked ring. So then I realized the open ring was not really convincing. I had started with an open ring, and that's what actually I thought that I'll go through a very small incision with that. A closed ring was a no-no for me at that point. And at this point, I realized that the dynamics, the mechanical forces were not good enough for an open ring. So I had to move to a closed ring. Now, this was a problem. Now, I knew I had to move. So this is what we call pivoting in startup technology, startup language parlance, or otherwise. It's a change in strategy without a change in vision. My ring was fixed, that it had to be that way. The notches and flanges design was there, but I needed to get to a closed ring so that it was successful. Now, there was a problem. With nylon, it's very difficult to join end-to-end nylon, and it requires ultrasonic welding. If you look up the internet and you see, that is what the literature says. So I needed to challenge the status quo. I said, okay, there has to be a shorter process. There has to be something I can do. I tried melting it and doing it, and it didn't really work. So, and sometimes you need to give luck a chance. You have to, like I said, you have to think out of the box. You have to think wild, This worked. $5 very quick. And you can't believe my joy when it worked, and it worked like a charm. In fact, about 300 prototypes I made, and in fact, send them overseas. The initial trials with B-HEX, in fact, my first publication in JCRS is based on the rings which I made with, of course, then later on, I moved to medical grade, cyanoacrylate, which we use now. And so a myth was busted. We could use, cyanoacrylate to join the ring. So this is the closed hexagon. This worked for a long time, actually. A lot of prototypes were sent, and then I believe you need to take risks. There are no risks, no gains, as we know. So, and calculated risks are risks with a plan. So if you don't take the risk, you just lose the chance. You have to take risks. So patent filing was a big risk that I needed to take. I knew I had a unique idea which would probably hold out, but patent filing was going to be, the patent filing was never, there weren't so many patent lawyers also in the country now, and internet was not so, things were not so tech ready, so to say. And I couldn't find a good patent attorney, so I actually filed the entire patent on my own. The provisional, complete specifications. Much later, I had to actually use patent firms, but they were more like a post office, and I used to do most of the arguing and everything. I used to send it over email to my patent lawyers, and they would forward it to the examining authority. Of course, this is a picture which you have seen. Yes, failure, and then you meet success. And we need to be persistent. Believe me, each country, jurisdiction, or country where I applied for patent, it was rejected. And that is the usual norm. Your patent gets rejected because the examiner, first of all, sends you on a run. He wants to test you how good you are. I had to argue my case in every country, and now we hold patents in 17 countries. Every country, every jurisdiction that I applied, I got a grant of patent. There are challenges that will come. There will be changes in mindset that you need to make. Like injector. Everybody was used to a Mulligan ring. Everybody wanted an injector. When I started off, everybody, you don't have an injector, it's not good enough. So I had to show them, I had to create videos, I had to get some KOL opinions, you see, that like get some people who are on your side, some key opinion leaders who will speak for you and say, okay, you don't really need an injector. Actually, if you look at the Mulligan ring and the eye ring, actually they snag the incision, and the injector is actually meant to circumvent that problem. On the way in and on the way out, they get stuck. So you need an injector for that. You don't need that for the B-HEX. The B-HEX just glides through. So why do you want to? And we are so good with our instruments. Then the concept of rigid and elastic pupils. This is something which I face. Some of my devices were working very well, and some of them were really buckling. I didn't know why. That's when I looked up the literature and I saw David Chang's literature on IFIS, and where he had talked about elastic nature of the pupil. Then I realized that rigid pupil and elastic pupil are two different animals completely. So I had to propagate. If you look at the literature before the B-HEX, nobody talked of rigid and elastic pupil. People would talk about pseudoexfoliation, fibrosis, and lots of other things. But really, in the context of pupil expanders, no, it was never mentioned. So I had to propagate that idea, get people present at various meetings, and get people to know that hexagonal shape. We are fixed from the 4 iris hooks that we started with. We are fixed with those 4 corners. Nobody thought that hexagon would actually have a much greater advantage. With the same hexagon, you would have seen some of my presentations. With the same hexagon, it's actually a much smaller device, and it gives you the same amount of exposure. So you can manipulate it much easier. And the fact that a 5.5 pupil is good enough for even the hardest cataract, that needed a lot of publicity. So a lot of presentations all over. Now, if you look at the real journey, it's a huge, long journey. The device, the patent, the peer acceptance, and commercialization, all things, they don't move in sequence. They move together. And you really need to brace yourself for a very long journey. You will face a lot more than what you really bargained for. This is a busy slide, but you could look at it and you will see that each one has its own journey. So you will be a party to each of these journeys. Now, a very valuable piece of advice, I feel. I was given this advice by somebody, and I feel I should hand it down. When it gets tough, you always look back and see what you have achieved. And you will see from the point where you started, a lot has been done. Well, a lot remains to be done, but then a lot has already been done. And I do this regularly. Trust me, even today, I look back at what I have achieved. I go into the dumps often, very, very often, because I'm still working on new versions of this device, and something should be there by the end of this year. Let's see. So this is the evolution of the device. This is a banner on our website. What it does not show is the versions before the one on the extreme left. There are many, many, many versions before that. So these are the patents: US patent, Indian patent, and these are the 17 countries where we hold European patent. We hold patents in all these countries. These are real assets. This is tradable asset. These are the trademarks. You need to. So B-HEX is trademark. Nobody can use the B-HEX mark on anything practically all over the world. B-HEX is US FDA registered. That was a huge achievement for us. Of course, this I think we talked about. This was mentioned by Samir, and the best paper at the ASCRS was a big shot in the arm. And all these awards, you need to, like you see, John, congratulations, John, for winning your award, I think yesterday or day before in the Odisha meet. And so these are things which will keep, pepping you up. And these work as a shot in the arm for you to go forward. You need to keep presenting, get grants, apply for grants, whatever, any which way, a small word of appreciation also helps. This is a wonderful testimonial by Tityal sir. And this was, again, a big mark when Dr. David Chang showed the B-HEX being used in his own surgery at the AO meeting in 2021. This was a huge achievement. This is there on the American Academy website, the B-HEX people in a complex phaco case. That is, again, a commendable kind of achievement. We export to many countries now. These are publications in JCRS and IJO. A lot of colleagues have published. And of course, if you look at hit B-HEX on the search bar of YouTube, you will find almost 100 videos now, more than that probably. And that shows the eagerness of the surgeon. That's how you've stimulated people to kind of produce videos and put them up on YouTube. So that is an achievement. Now, this is very important. I would like you to guess, despite all your hard work, it's going to be bouquets and brickbats all the way. Trust me, you'll get appreciation. Today in the morning and the evening, you'll have brickbats coming. So when you get bouquets, brace yourself for brickbats also. And that's part of the game. You learn to live through it. I've lived through it. And if you are a hustler like me, you would have seen my posts on WhatsApp, Telegram. It appears shameless. You have to be shameless. Well, there are reasons for that. I'll tell you. Every social media group has kept you in the group because they want to get something out of you. So you need to get your pound of flesh too. Do that. If they want to throw you out of the group, let them. But then it might be very painful. You might find that I'm carpet bombing groups. But yes, that's the way, because doctor colleagues and innovation have a wonderful love-hate relationship. Now, doctors love to benefit financially from ideas which make surgery easier and affordable. But some of them consider it unholy or sinful to gain financially from these ideas. Now, where is the money going to come? I don't have money. So if you do not want to cough up money, now if I give the same B-HEX to XYZ company and it costs you 3 times or 4 times more, will you be happy to pay for it? You won't. Well, and the first question when you say that, okay, I've got an idea, this is a wonderful device, how much does it cost? In a personal conversation, that's the first thing they'll ask you. But on social media, no, it's a no-no. It's a taboo. You shouldn't be talking about it. These are some of the somehow strange behavior that we have of people. We want you to understand, and I would like you to understand and probably help people understand, have the courage of your convictions, that doctor innovators have the right to earn from their ideas and innovations. We have spent considerable amount of my time. I could have built a hospital in that time. I could have built my practice much better. So if I can deal in house, land, property, horse racing, I can go to casinos and earn money. What's wrong in earning money by making an invention and selling it to you? Have a heart. So now this is the most important slide in this presentation. If you have not heard me for the last 20-25 minutes, this is one slide you need to look at very carefully. If you have an idea, the first thing you think, is it desirable to users? The next, you think, is it possible with current technology? Is it viable in the marketplace, which means it's affordable. If I give you a B-HEX which costs you 20,000 bucks, you're not going to buy it. It may look fantastic in the video, but you're not going to buy it because it beats the cost of the cataract surgery itself. Now, when you see that you have meet these 3 criteria, and that is when you have it at the cusp of that is what is your innovation. Remember, desirable to users, possible with technology, and viable in the marketplace. A simple thing is, will people put their hands in their pockets and fish out money to pay for your invention? Then it is a successful innovation. These are some wonderful inventors: Von Grafe, Sir Harold Ridley, Gulam Payman, Charles Kellman. I look forward to your innovation. Thank you very much for your patient listening.
Thank you so much, sir. It was really inspiring to hear your talk. Nilesh, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. I have been a fan of Suven, sir. I think it was my privilege actually when I presented my first innovation in Think Under the Apple Tree, and sir was there. And sir has seen me from that place till now, and sir has always been supportive. And there are multiple takeaway messages from this presentation. And whenever I talk to sir, I get the same feeling. The first thing is that you have to be what sir says, a hustler, because it is going to be a long journey. It is like you sometimes feel frustrated, sometimes you feel nothing is going, and suddenly in one day so much will happen that you are like, I can't handle this much progress. So it is going to be up and down, but you have to be persistent. One thing is that. Second thing, what sir told, you have to love your idea, but at the same time you have to be ruthless. So you love what you are going to achieve, but very ruthless and like discarding your prototypes and moving on to the next one, so that it keeps growing. That's what I initially, when I talked to sir, when sir saw me present in I think Think Under the Apple Tree, it was not a very beautiful device or something, but like I kept discarding my prototypes to reach the final commercial product that I could. So that is another thing. And the third thing, again, it is very contradictory in innovators journey, is like till a point you don't have to talk about your innovation, and after that you don't have to stop talking about your innovation. Otherwise your innovation will be with you. Nobody will realize that you have innovated, and somebody else will do a similar thing, and then everybody will think that that person actually has developed the device and not you. So that point needs to be found out when you don't have to speak, and after that you have to just keep on speaking. So thank you, Suven sir, for and that wonderful talk. And sir, I would like to ask one more thing. There are many innovators right now who are in residence. Like we are seeing that trend rising in YOSI members also, and many young ophthalmologists that they are coming up with a lot of new ideas. But like you said, it is very costly to develop that idea. So what do you think is like how they can take the journey forward when they don't have a financial backup? Because holding the idea for like till they can financially support it, it becomes very difficult.
Yes, so there is a question also by Dr. Vedant over here. I think
Yeah.
we clubbed the two together. So Vedant asked that, was I an innovator always? Actually, these are slides from one presentation. I've made them again together. There is another presentation. Yes, I have been a tinkerer. I have destroyed many watches in my house. I have destroyed radios. I have had my parents, my dad was in the Indian Navy, so he would go in for, my dad and mom would go for a party, and they would come back in the night and see me with the entire radio all over the floor. And then my dad would ask me, what are you going to do about it? I would say that I can't figure out, I'll work on it tomorrow morning. Okay. So, and of course, my dad was absolutely encouraging. I have never been reprimanded for breaking his expensive watches. I didn't know how do you open a watch. I tried opening it from the glass side. I never knew that you could open. So I used a screwdriver and I cracked it. And it was a mess. So my dad never said, oh, he said, okay, no, okay. My dad was a little bit of a tinkerer. So he said, no, this is not. So he took me to a watchmaker. And I saw, and then I said, oh, so that's how you learn. And okay, so if you're asking for my PG days, well, even now, the plumber never comes to my house. The electrician never comes to my house. I rarely have a carpenter coming to my house. I have a full-fledged workshop in my house. And if you didn't notice, there was a vice and everything on my table in one of those slides. So I have a full-fledged, I have, name it, and I'll have device right now over here. Finances. Nilesh, a good question. Yes, when I started working on this, I was well into my practice. I was 45, 46 when I started this. Actually, I'm much older than you can see over here on the screen. So 40 plus, I was well into my practice. I had some bank balances. I was not building a hospital. So I had money to cough up and go. I could take those risks. So yes, I am thinking on it. A good idea over there, and I'm thinking of collaborating with a few colleagues. I'm waiting for my B-HEX to go a little more, and then we could probably have a kind of platform where we have investors amongst ourselves, people who vet inventions, and we know. See, John has got certain skills. You have certain skills. I have certain skills. Venkatesh has certain skills over here. Okay. Prasanna. So all of us have certain skills. We can put them together and we can find people who will work for us. All of us have been, so from our journeys, we can put them together and we can give people a platform and help people. That's there in the offing. Will take some time to get organized. But yes, that is on the cards. That's on the cards. There was another question somebody asked. Let me ask. See, can you read out, Nilesh, the questions?
Yes, and no, I think it was John sir only. He was telling that similar story for all tinkerers. So actually, I
Yeah,
think it's very true. Like all of us, I think here have done the same. I never
yeah,
like my toy never lasted for 2 days. It was like
yeah, so
taken apart, and I was very
see,
fascinated about the robotics, like the self-winding toys. So that was not going beyond 2 days anyway.
I think who was who asked me about my PG days. Well, yes, I was in JIPMA, and
Yeah.
people don't even know that there is a CPWD workshop in JIPMA. Okay, CPW means they have a lot of funds, a lot of stuff, and they've got wonderful drills, cutting, saw, everything. It's a huge workshop. So we had basketball was very popular. Leisure is a sports festival in JIPMA, and we saw basketball teams coming, and we didn't have a digital scoreboard, so to say. So I made a digital scoreboard, which was basically LED diodes, LEDs, diodes, which are, segment by segment I made. And that is probably still somewhere in JIPMA lying in the dumps. It worked for, I think, a few games. Okay. It was a very complicated, it was not electronic, it was basically electrical, which was working on
Electric.
diodes, so it's very. So these are things which I've done in JIPMA also in PG days. And there was no reward over there, kind of.
So,
Right.
Dr. Smriti is saying that she is very inspired by your journey, and you have progressed over as an innovator to an owner of patents. Sir, what was the first innovation or idea of yours that got cogs running like a machine?
So it's easier to tell you the long list of innovations which failed. So if you come to the innovation which has succeeded, look at John nodding violently. So anybody who's had a successful invention would have had at least 10 to 15, at least, failures. So I had something called an irrigating chopper, visco hydrating chopper, a lot of other things, what I call the Bhattacharya's genie in those days. I had filed a patent also for that, but I dumped that after some time. I realized, so they were, but what really got going was this one. So I have a lot of failures. I have patents which I have spent money and I have lost money. So you should also know when to pull the plug. Okay, so there are things, these you learn, you get mature with time. So failures, so success is riddled with a journey. I mean, your path to success is riddled with failures. Know that for sure. So you will have failures. So yes, this was my first successful, and well, maybe there are a lot of other things which are in the pipeline, but nothing has taken shape yet.
Yeah, similar, sir. Like what Thomas Alva Edison has famously said that 1,000 times I have not failed. I have found 1,000 ways not to do that thing. So that is very, very true for
That's
any
easier said
innovator
than
or
done.
any academician also. I think because each published paper, there are like 10 more papers which got rejected before that. So they got to publish one. So it is a journey of perseverance, I think, rather than doing thing. And one more thing that I wanted to point out, and I think everybody will agree that every innovation's journey is different. Like Suven sir, if he takes on another innovation, it might not be same. It will be a completely different journey. The only thing common will be you have to be persistent with your product, your idea, and you need to see it through that it goes and makes a splash on the world.
One word about failures. All of us over here have faced failure. Okay, we know what failure is. And believe me, a failure really gets you into the dumps. And it's I had one of those slides which I actually removed. I thought it would be for paucity of time. If you meet with a roadblock, you need to pause and go back. And that's when you'll see the truth. If you keep trying to push and move forward, sometimes you will not really meet with success. So if you met with a failure, what I do is now, if I met with a failure, I just leave it at that point, chill. 1 week, I will not talk about it. I will not think about it. And then suddenly one spark I'll get at the end of 5th day or 6th day or 7th day. And then I'll start up. So you've given yourself time to recede a little. It's just like a roadblock. You see, it might say the road closed, but you take back, go a few steps back and you'll see, yeah, detour is written over there. So you need to do that. So step back always.
And sir, just like to finish off the discussion, I just wanted to ask one question. What is your current workstation look like? Like, how do you do the work right now?
Yeah, now I have actually because now I've dismantled. The microscope is still there. I've dismantled, and as I was telling my wife yesterday, miss it because it was occupying a lot of space. I have a room. See, my children have flown the nest. So my son's in JIPMA, by the way. Now he is doing his MD medicine. My daughter's doing engineering. So we have a lot of extra rooms in the house. So one house is full of cardboard cartons and other things, and that room is practically kind of restricted access. Okay, because you never know what's going to fall on your head. Okay, so but I have a workstation. I have a table. I have a small table mount magnifier which I use because I'm presbyopic, way into presbyopic age. Okay, so I need that magnification. But yes, I don't have a regular. But so what happens when I'm working on I just fished out some old prototypes. I actually just for your interest, I'm making a ring for SICS. That's my next. Will be coming. Hopefully, I'll have it by the end of the year. I don't know how much success. Prototypes cost a lot of money, so I'm working on that. So I was working on it yesterday also. And so It's a much smaller workstation I've dismantled, but any day I want, it's an upper microscope which is in the box, so I can just put it on, clamp it to the table. But it's still
Perfect, sir.
there. I have a workstation.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I think Dr. Sameer, anything else you want to add?
No, thank you. Thank you so much, sir. We wish you all the best for your for the ring for the SICS thing, and hopefully it will come into the markets soon, sir.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your talk. With this, we'll move on to our next speaker, Dr. John Davis Akara, who will be talking on iNovator, his journey so far as an ophthalmic innovator. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you, Suven sir, for the very enlightening talk. You talked about all the parts of the journey which nobody usually talks about. Am I audible now? Hello?
You're audible,
Yeah.
sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, so sir, you talked about many parts of the journey which nobody knows about, nobody talks about. So I'll just share my screen right now. Right. And is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, so many things, sir, talked about. It resonates with me. It's very this thing to know that all these difficulties that you face is common to all tinkerers and innovators. And I have my setup stored in boxes right now because two small kids. And whenever I have to, make a workstation, I have to open up the boxes and set it up. So, so everything is packed in clear plastic boxes, if you can see here. So I'll get back to that. So I'll just talk about my journey so far as an ophthalmic innovator. I'm currently working in Chaitanya Eye Hospital and Western Eye Hospital in Cochin. So a financial interest statement. So I have some apps made by me which are currently free, but maybe I will commercialize some of them later. 3D designs, many of them I'm doing free and open source, and some are being commercialized. Few of the devices mentioned are being commercialized. And I was medical advisor for an artificial intelligence company. I am medical advisor for an ophthalmic device company, and I'm part of an NIH funded app development project also. So that's just for the other innovators to know that these are things that you can be part of. So this here in the center, Dr. R. Venkatesh sir, he is one of the inspirations, the biggest inspirations for me to start my innovation journey. He is the chief medical officer of Arvindai Hospital, Pondicherry, and he always encourages everybody to do something innovative there. So he is there to give a spark, and if you want to make something, you need that spark, somebody to tell you yes, you should go for it. So Dr. Venkatesh sir was the reason behind many of the innovators coming from Arvind and Pondicherry in general also. And here, Dr. Prasanna Venkatesh, one of the other innovators, he's he's there in the webinar right now. So he is also one of the other innovators who has been brother to me in the innovation journey. And I think he also would say that Dr. Venkatesh has been one of our major inspirations. And Dr. Swati, she was my senior in Arvind Pondicherry. She is also one of the innovators and inspirations for me. And I'm just showing some random photographs. So Dr. Suven, super senior in JIPMA, and he has been encouraging all of us. And here, Dr. Subhashni, she was my guide, and she has also been a very big inspiration in my life. And these are other JIPMA seniors and JIPMA junior. And this is Dr. Prithvi Chandragant. He's been another mentee and inspiration. So he has been doing a lot of frugal innovations, and he has been a collaborator for many projects, like Prasanna has been. And this is Dr. Devika. She has been the inspiration for developing one of the apps, and she has been another innovator and collaborator in some instruction courses. And this is Dr. Rashmita. She was one of the first collaborators in our instruction course, which we did in TNOA and went on to do it in AOS with Dr. Uday Devgan. We took a photo with him. And these are some of the colleagues from Ramchandra Medical College, where again I was doing some other projects, and I was there during the COVID time. So I did many of the 3D printing and artificial intelligence projects there with help from them, Dr. Gayatri and Dr. Narayan. And these are the postgraduate students who were stuck with me, first year PGs who were stuck with me during COVID. And so they were also taught a lot of innovation, and many of them went on to win innovation awards and video awards, international conference awards, and so on. So all of them are doing very well right now. And these two, Dr. Vedant Bawa, Dr. Tusha Khanna, they were third year MBBS students, and they were, very instrumental in developing this 3D printed punctal plug. And they were MBBS students who just wanted a project to do, and they designed this by themselves, and they 3D printed it in Ramchandra. And going on to the Frugal innovations, which I did. So firstly, let me just tell you, these were several of the things which I was, using. I used 3D printing. I was, interested in developing apps, so I did that also. I learned a bit of artificial intelligence. I was interested in photography. From school days, I was interested in, coding, programming, and I was interested in virtual reality as well. So all these really helped to make all these, innovations a reality, because if you know a little bit of these things, you can do a lot of prototype work and even complete work very easily. So how I started with coding: when I was in school, computer science was a mandatory extra subject, and this was the time when MS-DOS was the main operating system, and then Windows. I'm maybe dating myself too much, so maybe not MS-DOS, but yeah, by the time I was in school, it was Windows 95. And I learned logo with Turtle. If some of you remember that, it was a very, very basic programming sort of thing. And then I learned GW Basic. And with that GW Basic, Q Basic knowledge, I made a car racing game using Q Basic. So that was, it was not part of the syllabus. I just figured out, okay, if you can do this, then you can do that, and then started making it bigger and bigger. And over the course of a vacation, built a game. And then later we went on to Turbo C++, again MS-DOS based. And there we were not taught graphics or mouse, but then one of my seniors, they they made some games using this, and they gave us the base code for how to use the mouse and graphics. And then we learned how to do all that, and I made a few games using that as well. This is now available on some websites, because MS-DOS is no longer regularly available. These run on simulators. So these are the games which I had made during school days. And these are available in this website. You can just go to this website and you can play these games which I had made during those days. And then later I went on to smartphone apps. So when smartphones became common, so that was the time of the Nokia smartphones, and I learned how to do programming. And then when I was, this was all from school days, I learned up to HTML. And then when I was in medical school, JIPMER, we had to make not that we had to, but we made a batch website. So we made a batch website, and then we made a Medico Zone website. That was a website for for MBBS entrance preparation. So we did that also. And then this was a time of Flash and ActionScript, that is for animation. So I learned how to make apps with that. And I made a surgically induced astigmatism calculator for a senior in ophthalmology who was doing the thesis in ophthalmology. So Dr. Reshmi had to do a thesis, and she couldn't get a working SIA calculator. So I used this to make that because it's basically mathematics. And then I made a period of gestation calculator because no, necessity is the mother of invention. So we were in obstetrics gynecology posting, and it was important that we calculate the period of gestation and expected date of delivery for all the expectant mothers in the OP before we could go for tea break. This was in the final year OG posting. So we made the app, and all my batch colleagues, all my batch friends, we would calculate everything very quickly with this app and then go out for tea. And we did not let the PGs in our OG know that until our posting was over. Then during ophthalmology residency and fellowship days, I made these apps again because of necessity. So iGrader app was made because PG students wanted an app to learn all the different grading systems. I know Tamil was inspired by Dr. Devika because she did not know Tamil. So we made this app to help her talk to the patients in Tamil. Then again, I know Bangla was when I went to Shankar Netralaya, a lot of patients who were from West Bengal and Bangladesh, and 3D Atlas of Ophthalmology because I was interested in 3D photography. So these were the apps. So these are things which became we were born because of my interest in programming, and then I wanted to combine this interest in programming with ophthalmology. So I was always trying to find something interesting to do. See, these are the apps which are available. And yes, this is the other eye doctor JD app. And then another app was for prescription, which I made recently. And then I used apps for other things as well, for measuring of different ocular measurements from photographs. And all these were basically because of necessity. I wanted to do this because of some reason, and so I've thought of a way to do it. And yeah, this is just an article about various apps for low vision patients. And then other thing was ophthalmic photography. So postgraduate days, there were a lot of interesting things that we saw on the slit lamp, and we didn't know what it was. So we had to take photographs. I mean, we could take photographs and show our seniors, send it over WhatsApp and ask them, do you know what this is? So we started doing that. And so I did a lot of smartphone ophthalmic photography and smartphone fundus photography. And this is an article I wrote on how to do that. And yes, this is again a video on how to do that. So all these QR codes lead to the actual video. So I'm skipping over these. And this is the 3D Atlas of Ophthalmology, where I used an app to take 3D photographs through the slit lamp. And so that is left eyepiece, right eyepiece. You take the photographs, combine them in 3D, and you can use this 3D glasses. So these are just the regular red-blue glasses and regular virtual reality boxes, not very expensive, which can be used to see the 3D photographs. And then other thing which I was interested in was the artificial intelligence. This was very recent. So I wrote a few articles about the role of artificial intelligence in ophthalmology. And this was a way to basically make your own AI, very basic AI, but you can make it, you can learn how it works. And if you want to do some very basic projects, you can use this to make the app, and that is absolutely free. So this video shows you how to do it, make your own AI. And I've been, again, MBBS third year students from Ramchandra Medical College. They were again interested in doing some ophthalmology projects. I gave them one project to do an AI algorithm, and they did make one AI algorithm to detect retinitis pigmentosa. And I was recruited as a clinical advisor for an AI company and did some other AI projects as well. So AI was one of the other interests which I had. 3D printing, I started doing when I was in Arvind Eye Hospital. Again, because of encouragement from Dr. Venkatesh. So he asked me, he wanted to do some projects. So I decided that some of these things could be done better with 3D printing. We started doing 3D printing by sending the designs over to Madurai, where they had 3D printers. And in the end, uh, we bought a 3D printer in Arvind Pondicherry because we were using the 3D printer in Madurai more than the Madurai Arvind. So that's how we got a 3D printer in Arvind. And so these are all 3D models. If you see 3D models right here on the PowerPoint, they move around like this because you can do that in PowerPoint 2019 and up. You can insert 3D models and make them move around. And the 3D models which I have done, I have uploaded in MakerBot Thingiverse as well as the US National Institute of Health 3D website. So you can download these for free. These are free and open source, just give an attribution sort of thing. And some of these things were 3D printed glaucoma drainage devices. So this is a model of a Orolab aqueous drainage implant. Mind you, these are not for implanting in human eyes. These are just for practicing in the wet lab and maybe to think of new designs. And here you can see the 3D designed B-HEX ring as well. So these are all to give you an idea of what it looks like. And if you want to put it in a PowerPoint presentation. So if you look here at the 3D B-HEX ring, it moves over to that side because it is a 3D model. You can make it rotate. And then another thing was the modular keratome, modular side port. So this attaches to the back of a irrigation aspiration cannula. So you can just use this part and fit it into the back of a cannula, and that reduces wastage. So that is another thing which you could do. And let me just go back here. Yes. So this is a 3D printed large size IOL. And here you see this is a project which I did with Dr. Rohit Rao in Ranchi. And he had been trying to teach phacoemulsification with the help of 3D, not 3D printed models, but with thermocol and other models in a large size. So we collaborated together and we 3D printed this. So I designed these 3D models. If you see, the orange is the posterior capsule and red glow. Blue is the trypan blue stained anterior capsule. The yellow is the cataract nucleus. And cataract nucleus can be trenched and chopped. And this is the IOL, yellow tinted IOL. And this is the phaco probe in the hand here and the chopper. So all these things were 3D printed and are useful for teaching the steps of phacoemulsification or etc. This is a 3D printed punctal plug which was designed by the MBBS students. So Dr. Vedant Baba and Dr. Trisha Khanna. They did a very good job. It won some awards as well, and I presented it in international conference also. So that was very good designing on their part. This is a 3D printed glaucoma drainage device. Myself and Dr. Narayan Balakrishnan in Ramchandra, we did this whole thing. And thanks to Dr. Emmanuel Sargunam in Ramchandra, OMF's department, the dental college had 3D printers. So I use the 3D printers there at no charge. So thank you so much, Dr. Emmanuel Sargunam. And this is the 3D printed design of my foldable fundoscope. So I designed this again during the COVID time. I learned how to design 3D during COVID time. So I was able to sit and take time to do all these things. And this is very block type because this was my first time learning 3D designing. But it worked. So basically it was a working prototype and I was able to, get photographs with that. And then later designs, were made more curvy and better looking designs. And this was the first thing which I went on to the patent route. Almost all the other things, actually all the other things were free and open source sort of thing. And this one, I won an award also in LVPI hackathon. And it was a very good inspiration for me. And I'm currently being incubated there. an LVPI startup incubator. Some other innovations, I'll quickly go through some of these. So again, there was a need for a low-cost camera for surgical microscope recording. So I had access to Raspberry Pi when I was in Arvind, Pondicherry, and we designed a camera which can be used to record surgeries, and that was the basis of this video as well. And kitchen ophthalmic surgeon, again, COVID times. My wife Anju, she was not able to do her fellowship because of COVID and all that, and so we started practicing surgeries in the kitchen, and this was a video on that, how to practice surgeries in the kitchen. So again, it was because of necessity that this was invented. And this was in Ramchandra. We were no, we learned about the BIRAC grant and how you can apply for a funding for a innovation if you have a good enough innovation. So we did a project in Ramchandra where we started doing a smart glasses for visually impaired persons. But then very soon, several smart glasses commercially available at a very reasonable price. So then we couldn't go ahead with this. So this was again based on Raspberry Pi and the camera and the software on that. Again, corneal topography when I was in Ramchandra. So this is to get the topography miles by using a smartphone and use a video from that. Virtual reality was another project area. So when I was doing my fellowship in Arvind, we had a team from VIT, Vellore Institute of Technology, Vellore, who came and they were interested. So one or two of the students, they were very interested in ophthalmology, and one of them decided that they are going to make some projects, and we suggested an improvement on the perimetry device. And this was one of the solutions which we found useful, virtual reality perimetry. And that the initial one was very basic, a smartphone inside a VR headset, but it had many limitations. So later they went on to create a company and made a full-fledged VR perimetry headset. Then augmented reality is one of the other things which I was interested in. It was always very expensive, but then I recently started using very inexpensive, smartphone-based augmented reality with the help of a printed target. So merge 3D cube is used. So once you print that paper in A4 paper and fold it into a cube, you can use that cube to manipulate virtual augmented reality objects. So what you're seeing here is what you see with your phone or tab or the output from any camera. And the target here can be used to manipulate the objects in real time. So that was one of the augmented reality projects which I did recently. So if you can see, this is how it is done. You have the cube in your hand. You can move the cube to manipulate the object in real time. So this is a very frugal sort of augmented reality. So that is probably the theme of most of my innovations. So thank you to all the institutes where I worked and learned, and thank you to all for listening. Thank you to all my mentors and mentees as well.
Thank you so much, sir. Again, very, very inspiring. I have a question, sir. Suppose I want to learn programming now. Like, is it worthwhile to learn at this stage? And if I want to do, like, where would you suggest to begin, and how should I go about it?
Right. So right now we are on the cusp of very, very good AI and AI which can do programming for you. Not very good programming, but it can do basic programming for you. So if you learn a little bit of basics, I would suggest you learn a bit of Python. Okay. So Python programming language. And also if you learn a little bit of HTML and JavaScript. So if you know this much, you can do a bit of programming with that. If you learn advanced levels of that, you can do pretty good programming. But if you use the help of AI, your little bit of knowledge in these languages can be expanded drastically. So a little bit of Python, little bit of HTML, little bit of JavaScript, use AI. I think
And
that is enough.
how's
Samir, I think the similar question I had asked John sir, if he remembers, in Kolkata AIOC. It was in April, and the things have moved so fast in AI from that time. I asked sir that what we should do to get like how can I start, because I was in middle of developing some app. There was some idea that I wanted to implement, and he was the person to go to ask such things. But since then, there is one website called as Galileo AI.ai, where you just put in your idea and that will give a layout, and then you transport that AI into Figma. Figma is another app. You bring that layout into it, and it will automatically create a backend code. So that much is more than enough for you to give an idea to, like, what we need. We need to give an idea to our app developer that this is what we want, and now you take it, make it more professional, more efficient, UI based and UX based. So right now, I don't think with AI we don't need to learn coding as such. Anyway, no knowledge is like it will not go waste. Nobody can fool you that if you know that how much time it is going to take, they might not overcharge you or do something. But with AI, it has become very efficient.
Yeah. So AI is changing the game very rapidly. As we speak, things are improving very rapidly. So we have
Yeah.
to see where
All
it goes.
thanks to falling cryptocurrency. Yeah.
And so for CAD modeling, sir, like what software do you use, and whether it is paid or available for free?
Yeah, so what I use is FreeCAD, which is completely free and open source. It is not a very easy to use software, but yes, it is decently easy. It is absolutely free and it is open source and free. But maybe you can use, and if you're just starting, you can use Tinkercad on their website, or you can use Fusion 360, which even though it is not completely free, you can get a free version if you have a .edu account. So if you are an institution and you have an email account, something .edu, or if you have friends who have edu accounts and they can register one for you, you get that for free. And that is slightly easier. Not slightly, it is probably much easier to use than FreeCAD. FreeCAD still has some errors which have to be bypassed by doing this and that. So yeah.
You have any idea with the apps that come? Like the app that I use is
Yeah. So
Shaper 3D, Shaper 3D on iPad. So that is
Shaper
pretty
3D,
pretty.
OnShape, all those things are also available. So if you want to use just to make a 3D model and you're not worried about the exact sizes, all these apps which are available on the iPad and Androids, they are also pretty good. The shapes, if you want to get accurate measurements and parametric measurements, that is when you have to go to FreeCAD and Fusion 360. But otherwise, you can use these things also. And I think AI can also generate 3D models now.
Yeah. Now
That
it
is
is there. So what we can do again to use, because from last 6 months I think I am too much into AI. So this what on Shaper 3D does is like you can draw with your Apple Pencil on iPad, and then you can just pull it up down so it varies in size, and then you export that CAD file into a free AI software, and then you give the measurement that this part you might need this, and then that they will do a remodeling kind of thing to get it working. But I have not 3D printed anyone yet, so I'm not sure how feasible it will be. But that's an idea.
what is the AI you use for remodeling it?
So there are multiple free model. I am not sure. It was quite a long time back. I am still yet to get the 3D printer, so I stopped working on that. But it is there.
You don't have to get a 3D printer. Just Google 3D printer near you.
Sir, I in my area it is not available.
No, this thing, Nilesh,
Yes,
you
sir.
can always get it online. You have online people, you just send me
Yeah,
the CAD file.
o-
Send them
okay.
the CAD file, they'll print it and ship it to you.
That yes, sir. That I
So,
can.
Or you can buy a 3D printer,
it
Nilesh.
doesn't cost actually. I
No,
even
that's what I told. No, I'm setting up my lab, so it is going to take like 2 to 3 more months. So I'll get that. But this,
Yeah.
Suvin sir, thank you for that idea. Actually, I didn't hit my mind.
I
There are
did
multiple.
I tried and failed, but well, that was one of the options. You see, I got a CAD file. So I'm not much of a code. I mean, hardly a coder. I tried to work on SolidWorks and all for some time, and then I gave up. I said that it's not my cup of tea. It's too much to learn and too short little a time. So, and you could go to professionals. You give them a diagram. You can make a pretty good 3D diagram kind of, with pencil and all, and give it to them. Give them the measurements. They do it. For a cost, they'll do it. And or even if you want, you send them the CAD file, these 3D printers, and they've got very high-end 3D printers. So
Yes, sir.
you can have it printed.
Yeah, my history says it's Leo.ai, the AI software for CAD printing.
Nice.
Leo.ai.
Yo, okay, got it.
Yeah.
So we have a question for you, John sir. Do you still do non-ophthalmic innovations, or now most of your innovations are ophthalmic?
So I think right now, yeah, many of my innovations are ophthalmic because I do them to present in ophthalmic conferences and so on. But yeah, but I do tinker a lot. So I do have opened up devices, and I try to repair whatever things are there. The plumber, electrician, they never come to my house because I am there. And I
Suvin
do
sir,
repair electronic gadgets, and I try
yes.
to do. I've got a Arduino. So those are all sitting in these boxes. So I have multiple boxes of this sort. So Arduino, Raspberry Pi, some 3D printed stuff, a lot of electronics, soldering iron, and they're all there. They're all in boxes there right now. So I take a box, unpack, and do something. So that's some of them are non-ophthalmic, but most are ophthalmic. And thank you for using period of gestation calculator app. We made it because of necessity, and I think now it is necessary for everybody.
So I just wanted to ask question to both of you, Subin sir and John sir. Most of us as innovator, we tend to consider the devices as innovation. But beyond that, also there are multiple like surgical innovation, other ideas also in your day-to-day practice. So, what do you think, and how important they are, and uh, what all can be that? What all is there in that avenue?
I'll take that question, John. If you don't mind, I'll take that question. Okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'll take that question. Okay, so let's start with the basics. Why do we want to innovate? There are a lot of reasons. One is the satisfaction of creating something. But then somewhere, I mean, having been through the journey for all these years, somewhere all of us are looking for recognition. If I'm not wrong. You might talk tall, you might talk everything. Everybody wants, John wants, okay, I want, Suvin Bhattacharya has been known, Samir will want, Nilesh wants, all of us want that recognition. And this has been written down by the greatest inventors. So there's no shame. Let's not shy away from that. We want recognition. So how do we get recognition? When others use it. Otherwise, it's fun. So you'll have innovations for fun, hobby. Those are called hobby innovations. And then you have utility innovations, which are going to be for mass usage. People are going to adopt those procedures or the devices or whatever. So there is a societal benefit. And that's where you derive that recognition and fun. Money is, yes, a part of it, but since we've got a day job, money is important. Because if you're going to create a company, like if I've created many devices, I need money for that. Okay, I need to run. I cannot keep forking money. I may not take much money, but from the company, but I need to run. So there are different reasons for which you innovate. But I firmly believe you must see that it is useful to at least a significant part of the population. Otherwise, you've not really created value. Then it remains a hobby. So that thinking should start right in the beginning. So you should be very clear whether it's going to be a hobby, or is it going to be useful? Is it going to be for a presentation at a meeting and then forget it? One night stand? Okay, or is it going to be something which is going to pursue over a period of time? So these are things I think, with each one it's different. And if you talk of patenting and things like procedures, so you can have your name to it by publishing it. You cannot patent procedures in India, but in the US you can. So patent laws are very different in different countries. The whole patent writing is a very different. The claims that you file are very different. The language of the claims are very different in different countries. So these laws are very different. I hope that answers some part of your question.
Yes, sir. Perfectly, sir. Actually,
John,
like, yeah.
Yes, I agree. Absolutely agree with all that you said. So many of my innovations are actually frugal innovations. So patenting a frugal innovation doesn't always make sense. So that I just go ahead and publish and put it in open source or whatever. But some innovations where there is a lot of there's a lot of effort and money involved in the process of developing it as well, you would definitely want to recover the cost and get some additional, because you spent a lot of effort and energy into that. So in that case, you always go into the patent process and all those things and commercialize it. And as Nilesh was asking, other than the devices, everything, so the process, the technique of doing something, a person who is lazy and smart will find a way to do it easier. So that is where innovation comes in. So I think it is a code misattributed.
John, actually, I think you are taking away credit from the innovator when you say
No, no,
he's
no, no, no,
lazy
not
and
that.
smart, because like you said, okay, your EDD calculator, EDD calculator. No, you're not lazy. It took some time for you to develop it. It took significant effort and time to. So it's actually, that's a fun thing to say, that because I'm lazy. No, because you felt that there was a procedure, there was a way you could get to it faster, and it is reproducible, and multiple people can use it. So why not? Why? So you created a system. You created a system. See, and you, like you said, you had a smile on your face when you learned that people are using the pregnancy calculator. You see, so it is still, it's still, when did you do this? So your ops gynae would have been what?
2000, 2007?
So yeah,
2007.
about 17 years. Okay, so
Yes.
and it still works. It still works. So that's the fun. You are not lazy. I will not. I mean, denigrate that innovation like that. So, but again, you see, there is another thing which is jugaad. Jugaad is something else. Jugaad, it's not. Jugaad is good. Jugaad is good, and I love to see jugaad. A lot of shots that I keep seeing on YouTube is basically jugaad, and I enjoy it. I could spend hours on YouTube shorts seeing jugaad. But and they give you a lot of ideas, a lot of insights. So we need to keep seeing and keep doing. And sometimes we feel amazing the small tips that are there, the jugaads that are there. It could be anything from kitchen jugaads to carpentry jugaads to machine jugaads. It could be a lot of things.
And a lot of these ideas, they transfer across fields. So you get an inspiration from some field, and then you think, hey, this can be used in this field. So
FECO is such example. FECO is the most glaring example in our field, from ultrasound drilling machine in dentistry to revolutionizing the cataract industry.
Yeah, woodcutter chop technique.
Yeah.
So many things.
Thing is, when we do sometimes we feel, like I said, you need to review literature. Now you have to review literature very sincerely, in the sense that if you've gone the history of FECO was an utter failure when it started. Why? Because there were no microscope. There were lots of other things were missing.
No foldable lens.
Parts were not missing. Were missing. But when it came, it's in its second innings, it was an absolute winner. Yeah. So what didn't work then may work today. So you can always draw that and see. So you have to be very critical in analyzing history, literature, and stuff like that, and see if it didn't work, fine, why didn't it work? So you have to have that curious mind.
So I think that has been
Any
a
other
wonderful
question?
discussion, sir. Just like you, just to give that what the slide that you showed with three circle, that this is your innovation. Actually, like John sir has seen my presentation where I use four circles, right, like that, and make it on Ikigai principle, that the philosophy that I love. And it is like, do you the problem that you have is personal to you, but is enough people in the world having the same problem, then only you go ahead. And then, are you good at doing it? You might see that there is a problem, but you might not be very good at doing it, not be able to solve it. Then you start collaborating. If you're able to do it yourself, then you do it yourself. Otherwise, you get people on board and start solving that problem together. And after all that, to come on the question of commercialization, as sir said, you have solved the problem, but will anybody pay for it? So if that is there, then only you go to the commercial way. Otherwise, you just make it like release it on YouTube, and be happy that somebody is using that.
So
So
not
that
just
is
YouTube, publish.
publish, yeah. So, sir, any closing remarks from both of you, and then Dr. Sameer can close the session.
Yeah, just one thing about collaboration. Actually, we all are basically very selfish to start with. There is no denying that. Okay, let's be honest to ourselves. So initially, you don't want to let go. But then if you, sometimes collaboration does not necessarily mean you give away a part of your flesh. You don't give a pound of flesh. You say, okay, I'll pay you for your services. I'll collaborate. What is your fee? I need
Yeah.
your services for this period, for this particular segment of my work. I'll pay your fee. Okay. If you feel that that partner is going to really add value to your project, like today, if I want to get onto something where it's a lot of programming, and I feel I need John's help, or I need your help, Nilesh, or let's say Sameer's help. Once I've assessed that, we've had about 2, 3, 4 rounds of discussion, and we say, okay, we could be equal partners. Or maybe the other partner could also have a bigger share, kind of. So these are things, it takes a little time to part with what is yours, but you have to be open to that idea.
Thank you, sir. John, sir?
Yeah,
Any
so
closing
I
remarks?
think Dr. Suvain touched upon this topic. Sometimes many innovations are uh, just present and leave. So those become orphaned innovations. So it's like you have created something wonderful, and built it up to a prototype stage, and it is a viable project, viable innovation of sorts. And then later you get busy with life or something, and then that project is abandoned, and that becomes an orphaned innovation. So there are so many orphaned innovations, very great ideas, but nobody to take it up to a stage where it can be used by everyone. So I think we should not abandon these orphaned innovations. There should be some sort of innovation orphanage where these orphaned innovations are given, adoptive parents of sorts. So so that is what innovators and investors meeting, those sort of things would technically be. So I think that will help revive some of these orphan innovations in the all branches, not only ophthalmology or medicine, in all branches actually.
Thank
Probably,
you.
sir, we can create a community where these things can be discussed and taken forward.
And these may not be free. So when somebody adopts the innovation, they can pay a sort of, maybe not a royalty per se, but some sort of fee, or if it becomes successful, they get something like a royalty. The entire patent process is very, very complicated and takes years. So instead of that, there should be some sort of easier alternative for these people who may not have time or money to go around that. So yeah, that is probably what we need to do.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. And thank you to both of you for taking out time from your busy schedule and sharing your inspiring journey. And I would like to thank all of the audience member, Dr. Nilesh sir, Dr. Prasanna sir, Dr. Devakant sir, for joining us here tonight. And I hope, in fact, there was a lot of learnings from this webinar, and I hope it was the same for everyone else. Next month, we'll come up with another webinar, the Eureyeka webinar series. So please stay tuned for more. And I would like to thank everyone once again. Good night. Thank you.
Good
Thank you.
night.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone. Good night. Good night, sir.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, sir.
Thank you so much.
Sai, sir, you can stop live streaming, please.
So that photo will
Ah,
Ah,
sure.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Let's do a
Hmm.
photo.
The YOSI photo.